Anthony Hartwig here with another Coach's Corner. We're continuing our basketball previews, joined by a very good friend and friend of YSN for a while now, Nick Blanch from the Pullman girls basketball program. Coach, here we go. Another season has come, and we are ready to preview it.
It's never official until I'm on YSN. Now that YSN is here, let basketball begin, baby.
And man, a lot of new things for the Pullman girls basketball team. There's going to be a changing of the guard. Fans are going to get a new experience. It's going to be a new look of this team. Talk about some of the players that you guys have that are still going to step up and be leaders for you guys, and then maybe some new faces that fans should expect to see come out of the woodwork and be big roles.
Well, this year we have three seniors. We have Connie Kugris, Abby Farber, and Morgan Kluchar. Morgan will be a 4-year starter, 4-year letter winner. So we're excited with her leadership, and the other two have done a great job as well. So we're excited with everything we have to this point. Obviously, big shoes filling with Jackie gone this year. So we are excited for the opportunities. Names that you will see more of. Mary Brandt, obviously, you'll see it and hear a lot from her this year. She had a phenomenal year as a freshman last year. We look for big things from her. People out of the woodwork that I expect you to hear: Ariana Daniels, you'll hear her name quite a bit this year. Sarah Forsyth, she's another one. Katie McDonald, big 6'3" girl, she's going to do great things. Ava Nicoludis, she'll do good things at the guard position for us. Brooke Rowe, she is back for the first time in 2 years. She has had two ACLs, the same one twice, and has missed basketball season 2 years in a row. And junior year, she's off to a great start. And just having her on the floor makes us a better team, and we're excited for her to be a part of that. Sis Williams, Leanne Williams, you will hear her name quite a bit as well. She'll be giving us post help this year at the 4 and the 5, so we're excited for her. And maybe a little bit from some of the younger kids as well. But for right now, those 10 would probably be the 10 that I would think you would hear the most from coming forward.
We've been talking to you for a long time. This is our fourth season, so we've been very close to this program. We know the family aspect and what has made this program great internally, but people on the outside probably look at you guys the last couple of years and go, okay, they had Jackie Grisdale, they got lucky with the talent. They were able to succeed with her and Sarah Burry and some of the other players that you've had. Do you think this is the year where you get to kind of prove to people that the core foundation of your program is really what made you guys successful, not just the talent that you guys were able to have those last couple of years?
With all due respect to your question, we have nothing to prove to anybody, no matter whether we have Jackie Grisdale or not. That's not what we do. We are here to get better, gel, learn life lessons, and we do the best that we can. And no matter what, you know as well as I know, whether we win, whether we lose, we're always going to have people that have different opinions. And if they're for us, they're always going to be for us, no matter whether we win or we lose. And if they hate our program, if they hate me personally, no matter what we do, it's never going to be good enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say? So I don't do this to prove anything to anybody. And because I know I'm an easy target. I'm loud, I'm big, I'm aggressive. And I know the people that don't like me are going to use that against me. But they don't hear me when I'm screaming at top lung in a good way, in a positive way, which I do more times than I don't. And I just get excited. I'm passionate about it. These kids work their tails off. And if they had a bad night, they don't have to answer to anybody else or have to prove anything. Do the best you can. And as long as their attitudes are good and their efforts are great, I'm all for whatever we do this year, regardless of who is on the court or not. Because last year, Jackie, deservedly so, got all the credit, and most people only knew her. But we had a lot of people that stepped up and did a lot of good things last year for us, including the other two seniors, Lizzie Herdman and Ella Harrell. And they were very important pieces. They just didn't average 20 points a game. And I understand the accolades that Jackie got, and she earned every one of them, but we were more than Jackie last year. And together we were district champs, and I'm very proud of that group, and I'm even more excited for this group this year, but not for those reasons. I'm just excited at the fact that they have good attitudes and they're very coachable kids.
I guess back to the core of that question, and what I really wanted to get at was this program has built the family tradition where you guys have been one of the more put together, tight knit chemistry programs that I've ever seen. This is a year where do you think that can really be thrust into the limelight where you guys are going to be playing together extremely well? And when people talk about your program, they're going to say this team is a unit and this team plays extremely well with high chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited for that. And it's nice to see when these younger kids become older kids. And now we have seniors and juniors that were sophomores and juniors, and they got to experience what it's like to be under other kids' wings. And now they get to be the ones who are issuing the shoulder for everybody to lean on. And like I always remind them of that, remember what you had as you were young. I mean, you had those people leaning on you, or you were able to lean on those people. And imagine how that, I remember how that made you feel to have that. It wasn't intimidating. You weren't a stupid freshman, and you got neglected just because you were in ninth grade, and it's nice to see that. And I don't think there's enough of that. It's just like some just focus on their top players, and we really strive to just be good people in this program as best we can. But it's a lot of work, and it's not easy. And some people are great people. They're just not outspoken leaders. So now when it's their turn to be that older kid and I'm pushing on them to say, hey, you got to be more vocal. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. It takes a while for kids to learn that, like we did a drill the other day. And in the drill, kids were going to the back of the line and nobody was high-fiving anybody. Everybody was just walking past one another. I stopped the entire drill. Hey, that's not good enough. We're not getting any better. Everybody's walking like they're on their own island, and there's no communication. There's no encouragement. There's no high-fiving. Now, to the person on the outside, that sounds stupid. But to a person who's been coaching for over 20 years, team chemistry is the first building block you need to have success. If you don't have team chemistry, you can be a great coach. You could have great players. It's going to be tough to have true success because you need people that want to be happy for someone else other than themselves. So it's to answer your question, it is a lot of work, but I am most proud of that more than any type of win or championship we'll get. We have kids that are building friendships for lifetime. Like kids move on, they go to college, they move away, and they're still in communication with kids they played with from other grades. That is tremendous, and I love hearing those things and seeing those things.
Coach, it's time to talk about your schedule and kind of preview the teams that are going to be on it. Obviously, we'll start with the conference in the NE8. It worked out kind of funny where almost all the teams near the top, their leading scorers have graduated. There's no more of the three-headed monster, the NE8. No more Emma Alaya, no more Izzy Lamparty, no more Jackie Grisdale in this big conference that we had. So every team essentially is going to look a lot different than last year. What do you think about this conference? And do you think it's going to be a lot more parity and competitiveness in this conference than we've seen in a couple of years past?
I really do. I think it's going to be very competitive, and I think there's going to be teams that surprise people. And I'm going to tell you the number one team on that list, in my opinion, again, my opinion, I think it's going to be Jefferson. I think Jefferson, TJ Furman's doing a great job out there. And I know they were good last year, and they gave us a push in our first-round tournament game last year. And they have a lot of kids coming back. And some people will laugh that off, but I absolutely do not. And, of course, you have South Range, who's always well coached. And those kids play hard. Struthers, Hubbard's another up-and-coming team. You got everything going on at Lakeview with Pavlansky and their staff over there, what they're doing over there. And I know she'll be the focal point in their offense and defensive schemes. It's going to be, like you said, no real big names, but that's okay. I mean, it's going to be competitive, and there's a lot of people out trying to prove themselves this year. And I know that them seeing in their eyes the big names come off of South Range and Poland, nobody's going to feel sorry for us, and everybody's still going to want to give us their best shot. and show us what they're made of. And we're fully expecting that again this year. And I think it is, like you said, going to be much more competitive. Not that the past years were cakewalks, but I think it's a more level playing field than in years past, which is exciting.
To your point about Jefferson, they, like you, have a 4-year starter coming back in Taylor Skinner. And we saw her during volleyball season, athletic, tall, and really a problem to deal with. I'm sure you know you've been coaching against her for 4 years.
Yep, absolutely. Hard worker. And like I said, she's being put in good spots by her coaching staff, and she's doing it extremely well. And we know that'll cause us problems, but we'll worry about that when we get to her. But I have the utmost respect for that program and TJ for what he's been doing over there and the attitude those kids have, positive. And you can tell that he's really building that foundation out there. And it says a lot about the way they've been playing and the way they've come around.
You guys always have a strong non-conference schedule to go with your tough NE8 schedule. Who are some teams that are going to pop up on the list this year?
Well, Canfield twice. We love playing Canfield. Those are always battles. We got West Branch in the United Way game. We have Howland, Boardman, Fitch. So we open up with Fitch, actually. So, that'll be a good test right out of the gate and see where we're at. They have Zeta, which will be back this year. I can't remember whether she's a junior or a senior, but, she's definitely a deep threat, and we'll be eyeing her up to see how, we can do against her. But again, very challenging. And like I said, the league schedule as well. It's one game at a time, and we're not going to look too far ahead, and we're not worrying about anybody else but ourselves. And we're going to do the best that we can possibly do. And I'm excited for it. I really am. Like I said, some people have already asked me, after last season, like, am I done? I got that a couple times. Are you done? You going out with Jackie? Well, why? Well, because Jackie's gone. What do you got? Well, we got kids that want to play basketball. I'm not here for, one kid or a glory run. This isn't about me. I'm here. I love coaching basketball. I love being a part of it. I love seeing the growth and the family atmosphere that we're a part of. And it's exciting. I mean, like we talk about the kids that know each other and make friends for years to come. I still talk to kids that I coached in 2009, and now they're having families and getting married and going through all these things. And it's great. It's fun to see these kids grow up and still want to reach out and talk to Coach Blanch, and likewise with me. I look forward to hearing from them and seeing their baby pictures and, the things that are going on in their life right now. And like I said, it's not always pretty. I always tell the girls, it's like your family at home. You love your family at home, but there's days you want to tell your family where to go because you just don't want to hear it. And it's the same with practice. There's sometimes that most of the time we all get along and everybody's happy for one another, but then there's some days where they don't really want to be there. It's a long season, and I'm not really one for taking days off, especially when we're there for 2 hours. And it's not the best of days, but at the end of the day, we still love each other and we want what's best for one another. But it's just like a family in your own house. It's not always pretty.
Coach, if you ever left us, we'd have to have a serious conversation about you stopping coaching. That wouldn't fly with me. I would miss these interviews way too much.
I'd be going to YSN, man. I'll be right there with you. We'll be sitting there. We'll be interviewing all the other coaches, and I get to heckle them and do all that with you, man.
What are some things that you want people, now that we've talked about people that you have coached before and they've reached out to you and you're still in close contact with you, what kind of things, if you had to pinpoint something that you want girls to take away from your program after they leave it, or they want to kind of look back and say, I learned this from being a Poland Bulldog, what kind of things would you say?
Mentally tough. Because it's tough playing sports and doing all those things, but it's even tougher when there's expectations, and the expectations never go away. And you're constantly asked to, come out of your comfort zone and do things that aren't exactly easy for you. Dribble with your left hand, finish with your left hand, take the ball down the floor in a press, and you really don't want the ball in your hands, those types of things. Be a leader. And Coach, I really don't talk very much. I don't want to talk in front of all these kids. I don't want to be in the middle and lead a drill, but you can do it. I know it's out of your comfort zone, but you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and seeing kids do that and knowing, hey, I was able to do that. That's a life lesson. That's not a basketball lesson, because all throughout your life, you're going to be challenged with things you don't want to deal with. And your first reaction, mine included, is, I can't do this. Yes, you can do this, because you've been through tougher things and you're going to be able to do it. You've just got to regroup, have your meltdown, regroup, and then go out and do the best that you can. And those are things that I want them to know that, hey, I was part of a basketball program, and it was more than just wins and losses. Because at the end of the day, most of them aren't even going to remember most of their wins and most of their losses. It's going to be how they felt while they were in the program and things that they took away from it, the friendships they made, and the bonds. So that's the biggest thing. Just, I can do it. The believe in yourself attitude, the overcome attitude, be able to deal with adversity and not crumble. Those are things that I want those kids to be able to look back on. And I have some of my former players that are now coaches, and they get it a lot more now than they did as a player, because now they're trying to instill those things in their programs. And they have had communication with me about that, about how difficult it is. And I tell them the same thing. You can't quit, because if you give up on these kids and quit trying to instill those things, then it's never going to happen. You've got to push through it, no matter how down you feel about it or how worthless you feel about it at times, like this is pointless. It's going to break through one day, but it takes time as a new coach to instill your values, and just keep at it if you really believe at it, and if you really believe in something, and it'll all work out.
Coach, last year was crazy for a multitude of reasons, but one of the weirdest things was not being able to really have the Poland community have your back in the gym physically. Now, we're seeing crowds be allowed back into sporting events. We hope that we all have, open gyms and are able to have full capacity crowds. What's it going to be like for you guys to get that support back from this great community and be able to feed off the energy of a crowd?
Oh, we're excited as heck to have these people. I mean, they constantly stayed with us last year, constantly sending messages, social media especially, and YSN was a big one for us. They loved tuning into YSN, watching us. They weren't able to be there physically, but I'll tell you what, we knew that they were there. They knew about everything that we were doing. A lot of congratulations. To have them back in the mix with us, we are super excited. We're looking forward to getting people back in, seeing our games in person and being able to thank them for coming out. But it'll be nice. It was definitely missed last year. And I am super excited to have those people back in. And our scorekeeper will be back this year. As far as I know, John Alsop, he was battling cancer last year. He's a pillar in our community. He doesn't even have a daughter. And he comes to the games, works the clocks, does whatever he can for all the different programs that he can. Super excited to have him back at the scores table this year, as well as all the fans. It just means a lot, and it's come a long way, because I started when the gyms were empty, and we could barely even get all of our families there, let alone extended family. Now people that just want to come watch basketball, because at the end of the day, most people want to just go watch boys basketball. And I get that. And we still haven't conquered all those people, because some people think girls basketball is still a waste of their time. And that's fine. They're entitled to their opinion. But we have more people buying into it because they like our style of play, how aggressive the girls are, and they've given it a chance. So, and we're looking forward to getting those people back in and making it worth their time.
Coach, before we let you go, I want to give you the opportunity to highlight your coaching staff, the assistants you have this year, and the people that are helping you kind of make this program what it is.
Well, first of all, I got my administration. I have my administration, starting at the top with our new superintendent, Craig Hockenberry. He's been phenomenal, always coming around, very interested. He told me he doubts he'll miss hardly any games this year. He loves basketball. He wants to come see the girls, the boys. So that's great, getting that all the way from the top. We had that with Mr. Janifay too, and to have this carry over with the new superintendent, we're excited to have that. Our administration, obviously, at the high school is awesome. We have Kevin Snyder, Mike Daly, Ed Ashcroft, and, of course, our athletic director, Brian Banfield. You can't ask for a more supportive group than that. These guys are always at everything as much as they can, as well as, they have their own families too. So when you see 2 or 3 of them at a game, that means something to you, because you don't need to have 2 or 3 of them there, but it means something to myself and my staff and my players. And then my assistant coaches, my right-hand guy is Chris Martin, does the defense, does everything I ask of him, and then some. Would be a great head coach if he ever wanted the opportunity, which currently he doesn't, but if he did take it, he would be great at it. And I also have the pleasure of having a former player back. Aaliyah Hughes was her maiden name. She recently got married. She is now Aaliyah Diamond. started out with me in high school, graduated from Western Reserve, and came back. She's now a teacher at Poland and a former player of mine. So I'm super excited to have her on board. She's been doing a great job. She's our volleyball coach, and the girls know her. They love her, and she has been doing tremendous. She's like a sponge. She wants to come in, learn everything, and she's been doing a great job showing herself as a coach, initiating her leadership to our players. So we're excited to have us here. We do miss, obviously, having Kim Grisdale and Brian Garkar. We wish them well in their endeavors. Coach Garkar's coaching boys over there at Struthers, helping out. And Kim is obviously following Jackie's career, which starts tonight in about 7 minutes at Fordham. And they kick off their season. So we'll be tuning into ESPN Plus to catch some of that here tonight and see that. But just super excited, especially when you have former players that want to come out and help out, and excited. It's what it's all about.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We definitely appreciate the time. We appreciate the preview of the Poland girls basketball team, and we look forward to covering you all year, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Go Dogs!